How do you think business is doing? How is growth doing? And what's going to spur it on in the Black Country and the West Midlands as a whole? Ninder Johal joins me. He's board member of BCLEP, which sounds good in itself.
The Black Country LEP.
Yes. The Prime Minister said the other day that the West Midlands was, quote, an engine for growth. Now, I think that's been written by a civil servant, because I'm not sure what it means, and perhaps you do.
Let me explain the complexity. I mean, that's the problem. What does the Midlands engine mean? Okay, let's go to our local area here. So we have, most people will know that they have a local council that they pay their rates to. So in the West Midlands, one such council, say Sandwell, joined 6 other councils: Wolverhampton, Dudley, Walsall, Solihull, Birmingham, Coventry. They came together to form what is called a West Midlands Combined Authority. So that's 7 metropolitan areas coming together. So that's the West Midlands Combined Authority. So just remember that. Then we move on to the Northern Powerhouse. So that's all these cities up in the north now trying to grow with the help of government. So you have a wealthy south, you have a north that is potentially now going to have millions of money piled in. That leaves us in the Midlands. So obviously questions start to be raised. Well, what about the Midlands? So someone somewhere decided, I tell you what, let's connect the east and west together and call it the Midlands engine. Now, what makes this complicated, let me refer you back to the West Midlands Combined, where we're involved. That's 7 metropolitan areas. The Midlands engine area involves 86 councils. So talked about 7, the complexity of running 7 locally. Imagine now the complexity of trying to run an area of 86. Now, we just referred to my position as on the LEP, the local LEP. And that's a partnership between private and public. So that area, so we look after Black Country, that area, the Midlands engines, will have 11 LEPs involved. So the big question is, what does it mean? What is its outcome? And how the hell are you going to manage to convince all of those people to work together? That's the big question.
Right. I'm not sure I'm any the wiser for that. Not to disparage your explanation, but because it's just a phrase, isn't it? Talking about an engine for growth. I mean, each area is growing. Each area has its own specialities. Manufacturing, of course, being the big one here.
Yeah. I think some of the attributes that are very positive here, if we take the Midlands, is firstly, it is the engine, actually, in many respects, for manufacturing. So if you take East and West Midlands, when you combine it, that really is the core, the heart of manufacturing. Now, what the Midlands engine is focusing on is something called Midlands Connect, and that is connecting through infrastructure the East and the West. So that's something tangible we should be able to see over time. I know the Midlands engine has a pool of money, I think it's 250 million, as a fund to encourage businesses to grow. So that's a second likely outcome. What we don't have at the moment is, when are these things going to happen? And the interesting thing about the commitment, which is why you asked, is it important? Well, the first thing Theresa May said when she was leading up to becoming Prime Minister, she said, we want growth for all. Now, if you take the Northern Powerhouse, if you take the Midlands engine, it's focused around cities. So what she was questioning was actually, is the growth in the cities or is the growth across the entire country? So that question mark was growth for all suddenly started to put into question whether the Northern Powerhouse and the Midlands engine was no longer going to get the support. So that's why her coming out and saying means, okay, maybe there is still something in terms of support from the government, both for the Northern Powerhouse and for the Midlands engine, irrespective of how opaque it appears to be.
Because the key thing is, and certainly it's true across the West Midlands and particularly the Black Country, that it's a lot of small businesses. Yeah. Now, the last small business minister, Anna Soubry, I don't know if you met her, feisty character, but was very much on side. Does everybody feel quite the same about her successor?
I think it's too early to tell. I mean, first, we still haven't worked out what the implications are for Brexit. We still haven't worked out. We know infrastructure slowed down. We know retail's done quite well. Consumer spending is up. Inflation is slightly up. I think business is now looking towards government and saying the Bank of England has introduced measures by reducing the rate of interest. But what are you as a government going to do now? And what are you as a government going to help small businesses? So it's a big question mark. And what commentators are saying that we're going to have to wait till autumn, the autumn statement, to actually understand what the government wants to do, because it's strangely very quiet.
Yeah. Yes, it is. I mean, I know it's that time of year. You know, you look at news. There are a lot of soft stories in there because there aren't the main things. If there was one thing that you would say, either to government or to the small business minister now, that you think this area needs to give it, I hate saying it, a kickstart, what would it be?
Okay, a couple of things. Firstly, we can talk about infrastructure, but that's not going to happen overnight. That's going to take 3 to 5 years. If we want confidence to go up, one of the things government could do instantly, and it is pretty well instant, is to look at taxation and maybe reduce from 20% to 17.5% or 15%, which would encourage an instant spend in the shops and an instant increase in demand. That's something government could do instantly. Now, because Osborne has gone and no longer do they want a surplus by 2020, then that's something they could do. Now, skills will take 3 to 5 years to 10 years. Infrastructure is not shovel ready. So these things, are great, but you're not going to see anything instant. And of course, for those on the retail and the high street, they will tell you they're at a disadvantage when competing with online. So again, maybe parking, maybe business taxes. There's short-term, medium-term and long-term. But I think short-term, there's plenty the government could do to boost it.
Because sometimes it sounds like we've said it all before. But as you say, let us not lose hope. Ninder Johal, thanks for being with us. There we are. We are going to a break, and I'll see you again in a couple of minutes.